We are live. Give it a couple of seconds and see if anybody's going to join me today for Once Upon a Wheel. Hope everybody's doing well. This is Once Upon a Wheel. My name's Kendra McCartney, and I'm a ceramic artist out in West Texas, creating magical storybook pottery. Today, going to be trimming a bowl, and really just hoping y'all enjoy. So if you are jumping on, please say hello because I can't tell anything, and tell me where you're at. Would love to hear. And if you're catching this on the replay, please let me know that as well because I definitely appreciate it. I can see comments. I'm close enough, I should be able to see comments. So welcome to Once Upon a Wheel, and I'm gonna be working on a bowl today. So hi Kendra, hi Fiona. Hope you are doing well, dear. So I threw this bowl. I think this is one of the ones I threw in one of the previous lives. So that might have been episode 2, or it might have been my bonus episode. I can't remember now. So we're gonna get started. So what I'm doing is, hello Elaine. I'm adding a foot ring, and something to think about with functional pottery when I'm making my pieces is refining them before I sculpt them. And so this is just one of my many steps I do, but I love giving y'all like a sneak peek of how my pieces are created and the work that goes into them. I did go ahead and center this before I started the video because I didn't want to get frustrated. Sometimes I can get these centered like immediately, and then other times I will fight the piece, and I didn't want to do that live on camera. So I was actually sharing, I'm going to tell you all a little story and then I'll go back to trimming that. Someone, I think it was Rosie actually, had commented on one of my pieces that I just posted of the blue and white bowls about how tactile they are. And they're extremely tactile. And I think that's one of the magical things about ceramics is you get to hold it and you get to feel it. Lizzie, don't blame you. Take the pressure off. Yes, a little bit of prep goes a long way, Elaine. And so with my artwork, being so tactile, you get to feel it, you get to hold it. And a few years ago, was visiting with one of my grandmother's friends, Barbara. Barbara's from Australia, and she used to before she passed away. She would come to Texas to visit, and Barbara was such an interesting woman. Would travel. Would come, ended up in this like little West Texas town because it was the home of Waylon Jennings, who is a country music singer-songwriter. And they used to do like festivals in his hometown and concerts, and we're talking, this is a teeny tiny town. And Barbara from Australia would come visit because she was such a fan. Well, one of the things that has always stuck out in my mind about Barbara is one of our conversations we had. Barbara had been blind since she was in her like teens or 20s. And so, you know, with so much visual artwork, you can't touch it to experience it. And I mean, it's just your oils can destroy papers and canvas and paint and things like that. But with ceramics, you get to feel it. There's a weight, it's three-dimensional, It's usually a lot of times it's functional, not always. There's lots of non-functional ceramics. And with my work, I'm putting so much texture in it. It's all hand carved and sculpted. And so it was so wonderful to get to like be visiting with her, but she also, like, I gifted her a few little small pieces that she could take home with her because it was such a long flight. And just to watch her interact with my pieces, because you could feel the work, you could feel the texture. And, you know, she didn't get to experience art that way. So it was just a really eye-opening thing for me, having these conversations with her. And so when I think about carving my work and adding those textures, I think about that extra element of the senses that everybody can enjoy. So if you were jumping on, I'm trimming bowls and tailing tails. Please say hi and where you're from, and y'all, this is a public post, so if you think one of your friends or family would enjoy this, please tag them either now or in the replay. This is public, so I don't mind them joining if they like it. I think that's beautiful. Thank you, Elaine. Yes, you know, it's something special I get to do with making pottery. So. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in comments. I might not see them now, but I can always go back and answer after the video. I still need new glasses because I'm like, ooh, that font is so tiny over there. Ceramic studios are not a good place for a computer. Otherwise I would do a computer so I could see larger. But with all the clay dust, which I keep to a minimum because I'm really I'm really conscientious about my health, and clay dust in the air or in your lungs never goes away. So it may be out of the air, but not out of your lungs. So unfortunately, I cannot have a computer in here. I occasionally will bring in one, but I try to not. So I love the trimming process because you get to like really see the form start to come, and I think of my bowls and my cups and my mugs as a canvas. So what's going to be like carved on them, sculpted on them, you know, what's its purpose? Like this is going to be a yarn bowl because it's for a special order. I get to see all of that as I'm working on it. A friend of mine actually brought up the mind's eye and how you visualize things, and I didn't realize there's people that don't actually visualize things in their minds. It's kind of hard for me to comprehend since I visualize so vividly. When I first started making things out of clay, I would get very frustrated with how my pieces came out because I could visualize them in my mind so clearly, like I was holding them and I could rotate them around, but my skill level wasn't there. And so they'd come out and I'd be like, ugh. Back to the wheel, back to the clay board. So yeah, if you've never looked into the mind's eye and some of the science behind it, I highly recommend it. It's fascinating. And I'm still learning about mine. It's kind of like that inner monologue Do you have an inner monologue? Who's joining? Let's see. Always got a Elena. I always have a monologue going on too. Oh my goodness. But isn't it fascinating how different everybody's brains work? I absolutely love it. So I actually need to buy some new ones of these, and I don't think you can tell. Do you see how like that's starting to be curved in the inside? I have literally used this tool so much that I've worn it down. I go through these like about once a year, and then I keep the ones as long as they don't break. I've worn them so thin that they've broken though. And this is like, these are handmade tools by a company I love here in the United States. And they hand make all of these and forge these, and I still wear them down because I do so much trimming and carving. And I caught the edge of that. So I'm really, let's see, a well-loved and used tool. Yes, it is a well-loved and used tool. I have lots of tools, but I tend to use like the same, like I would say like 5 or 6 for throwing, 2 or 3 for trimming, and then this, I use all sorts of tools when I'm actually like sculpting. So, oh, you made it to the live, Rosie. Hi, Rosie. If y'all are just jumping on, say hi. I love that. I can't always tell who's watching. Either it scrolls too quickly or I just can't see it. And if you're catching it on the replay, let me know. I definitely appreciate it. So if you are out ever, this is just a little tip, if you're ever out buying pottery and you're at a festival, make sure you flip over the bottom of the bowl. You do not want to buy pieces that have what we call an S crack, and it literally looks like an S cracked into the bottom. That piece is dysfunctional. It wasn't compressed enough during the throwing and trimming process. It might have been too heavy on the base versus the rest to create that crack, but usually it's a compression issue. And I don't sell those pieces. Those pieces usually end up in my garden with plants in them. But it is something I see it every time I go to festivals, and as art festivals and shows start to open back up, please, please, please don't buy pots with S cracks. Always look at the bottom. You want your foot ring to be smooth, not jagged. You don't want it to like be real sharp so you don't get hurt or it doesn't tear up your tables. And you don't want that S crack because it could possibly keep cracking. It's not a high quality. Invest in something that they have that you like, you know, that doesn't have it, or find another potter. Or come see me. Let me see if I can see. How come your jeans are so clean? Because I'm not working with really wet clay right now, Rosie. And also because I throw pretty clean. Because my studio is inside my house. So I try to keep my clothes and my studio very clean to keep the clay dust. Clay has silica, and I don't want silica in my lungs or the cat's lungs or my husband's lungs. So let's see. You look like a wood spray. Oh, thank you. I feel like a wood spray. I did my makeup different today and I feel very rosy. Rosy. Now, I don't know if y'all can see, but this is like sending clay shards like all over the place, not just in my bucket. And so I will go clean those up with some water after the video. I don't want to take too much off, and that actually is giving me a pretty good surface. I don't want to take too much off because I'm going to be carving into this one. And I say into this one like I don't carve into almost all of my pieces. If you missed the first of the video, go back and listen to it after it's over. I was telling a little story about one of my grandmother's friends from Australia. And part of the reason I love putting texture in all my pieces. So you'll have to go back and listen if you missed it. So really, at this point, I'm just like finishing, smoothing, and refining my canvas. So I'll be able to texture it this afternoon. It's probably what I'll do after lunch today. Now, I use, let's see, did you make the mug you're drinking from? I did! Amy, this is one from college. This was when I first started carving, and I don't know if I can do this without spilling water. Can you see the bottom? It doesn't match because I didn't know what to do with it. And so it's these weird, like, here's this organic texture. And then I cut into the foot ring because I didn't define it. And then the bottom is like waves that don't match at all. So, so fun getting to see you work in your studio. Aw, good, Heather. I'm glad you are enjoying. And this was actually fired in, this looks like it was fired in a soda kiln. Which, if you're like, a soda kiln? It's a type of atmospheric, man, I couldn't spit that out today, kiln, and you actually add soda ash in, which interacts with the glaze. It gets really hot. I have some really, actually, maybe not that brick, but I have a few bricks from one of the kilns I helped build. And at some point, when I own my own house and a little bit of property, that is on my list of things to build. Not that that's how I'm firing my work currently, but I would love to build a gas kiln. Maybe even a baby wood kiln. Let's see, I do like these yellows and blues together. Yes. Is this going to be, Rosie, this is not going to be one of those. This was a special order yarn bowl, and I've discontinued my skull, illustrated skull pieces. At least they might come back seasonally, but they take so long to carve, and so I let her order one for a special order, but I'm not offering them even as special orders. She got in on the last of it. So these are going to be, I'm going to illustrate and carve little skulls into this. So I was going to ask if it was from yes, it was one of our soda firings, Amy. I have a couple, and this one was when I was still doing really deep textures, so of course at some point somebody nicked it and broke off part of the texture. But eventually I will probably build a little, couple of little kilns. Got a friend up, I don't know if he'll see this video, I've got a friend up in Colorado who's built some really cool like mini train kilns where you like roll the whole thing in and roll the whole thing out. And yeah, I need to get on, like, love to build some of that kind of stuff. So I think at this point, this piece is done. Oh, there we go. And then I will kind of, I'll end up refining this while I'm carving it, but I do like to give it a little bit of a smooth. So this will get carved, and I like that profile on it. It's a nice little piece. Love your top. Aw, thank you, Lindsay. Yes, so that is trimming a bowl. Kept it pretty simple because it's gonna have so many illustrations on it. I didn't want to overwhelm the piece, but I do have, if y'all, would anybody like to see me do one more? Maybe I can like actually center without anything crazy. If you want to see me do one more piece, give me a thumbs up or some love hearts, and I will, when you do build them, I want to help. Yes, let's do a kiln building party. I mean, I'm probably like 5+ years out from that, but Amy, we should do it. I'd love for your help because it's been a while. I have my kiln building manuals, but it's been a while. All right, so if y'all would love to see one more, thumbs ups or some hearts, and I'll go grab another piece and we can trim one more. So looks like I've had several, so I'll go ahead and stay and we'll do one more because this is fun. I should have left it closer to me because I couldn't remember which bag I had it in. Also, my clay water over here and my wheel are definitely time to be cleaned out. So I used to, when I used to trim, I would like roll out coils and put them on here and secure it better. And I just use a little bit of water and some suction now. So occasionally I've pressed too hard and had pieces like literally fly off my wheel. And just like when throwing, I have to recenter it. That was pretty fast, actually. The best time, y'all are gonna love this story. So I was doing demonstrations, wheel throwing demonstrations, and I've like smeared my lipstick. I was doing wheel throwing demonstrations at our local art festival, and this is a big festival for this region. I don't know how many people come through there, but it's a lot, and they bring the schools and the kids, and last year was the first year not to do it in like 50 years, and it's in our civic center. So I'm doing wheel throwing demonstrations, not on my wheel, and they were throwing because of how they throw. I throw on just my wheel head, and a lot of times people throw on these things called bats, and you connect them with like screws into the wheel. I just don't like it. Part of it is I don't have enough bats, so it's just like a pain to like keep rotating and clean them and store them and buy them. So I just throw in the wheel and I just use those and kind of rotate them onto whatever boards I got. Unless I'm doing something big. So I'm at this art festival throwing, and I didn't get the bat on there fully. And I go to like center my clay when I'm throwing, not trimming. And I guess there was some air and a little water and then the pressure and it's spinning. I had like 50 people standing around watching me throw. And this is like very early on in my like demonstration days. Like I wasn't real comfortable with it anyways. And this this piece of clay, like about a 2.5 pound piece of clay on a bat, goes frisbee flying into the audience, like 25 feet away from me, like hit like somebody's feet. Thankfully they were standing far enough away because there were so many people, but I was so embarrassed. I literally just like stood up and walked away. And I had like taken off my shoes to throw, and I was like in this long like kind of hippie festival dress, and I just like walked away. And I was so embarrassed. And the local clay studio manager was watching me, and he was like, I've been doing clay for like 40 years, Kendra. I've never seen that. So there's my crazy, I've never done that again, but considering he'd never even seen anybody do that, talent. see. Bless you. Funny, funny afterwards. Oh, I was so embarrassed, Elaine. It was funny though. I mean, I get a good giggle out of it because I'm like, man, someone asked me to do like a demonstration or teach a class. I'm like, it can never be as crazy as that moment. Like, that was like a whole new level. But I've always had crazy stories like that happen. I had, in high school, I was a dancer for the musical Can Can. And here's another one of those crazy moments. My partner was supposed to like flip me backwards. And then I was supposed to kind of like, he wasn't supposed to like fully flip me. Like, I was supposed to get my hands to the ground and then he was supposed to flip my legs over. And this was like during the finale. And he had been throwing me on my face for like 2 months. I just could not get it. I mean, I think the first time we actually nailed it was like 2 days before dress rehearsal. And so opening night comes. Like normal stage fright, butterflies, like excitement and stuff. I loved being on stage and dancing, but I was still nervous about him throwing me on my face when there was only going to be 8 people on stage. And so opening night comes, we get to the big finale dance number. He like has me do the little like walk over, flips my feet up. I stand up. I'm so excited. He hasn't thrown me on my face. And I'm supposed to kick over his head. I'm short, guys. I'm 5'2". And while this guy wasn't that tall, I still had to kick over his head. And I got too much momentum when I spun, and I kicked over his head, but then I accidentally also kicked him in the back. And I knocked us both over onto the floor, face plant. Both of us. In the middle of the finale, on the opening night. Everybody heard it or saw it. I turned around, put my big smile back on as I'm crying because it hurt. And, oh my goodness. And I'm like still finishing off. Like we still have to do high kicks because it's Can. Like I'm at the very front of the stage because that is where my spot is, at the front of like a V. And, by the next day, well, of course, you know, we get off stage. I have like a minute to compose myself to go back out for the bows. And everybody's like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like still crying, but smiling. And so the next day at school though, I was a sophomore in high school when this happened. And we still had like 4 more performances. Everybody was like, did you hear about Kendra? Because I went to a small school, and if you didn't see it, you heard about it, or you heard the story about it. So I've got some really wildly should be embarrassing stories. Definitely was embarrassed at the time. But if I didn't have them, they wouldn't be nearly as interesting. So this one I've managed to get a few little weird kind of ripples going on. I'm going to try to smooth them out, but if I don't, it's just when the clay caught funny. It probably also shows that I need a new sharp tool. Yeah, they're still there, but it's not going to matter too much. This is going to be a Cyclops mug, so. comments. Hi, Mom. Your stories are ace. Thanks, Elaine. I grew up with a family of storytellers, so most of the time I just listen to everybody's stories, but it is fun to get to tell them. And eventually I've thought about this while throwing, revisit some of my favorite like fairy tales or stories and give some retellings or thoughts about those at some point. It's a little more difficult when I'm trimming and videoing. There's a lot going on. Let's see. 1 week. Can you show us how you do that? I definitely will do some like little sneak peeks. I probably won't show the whole process, Rosie. But it's cool because that is clay as well. It's clay and glaze. Although the glaze I use on my Cyclops eyes is not food safe. But it's low enough down. It's on the exterior. So I always tell people not to lick it. I shouldn't have to tell people not to lick the Cyclops eye, but I usually still include that, that the eye is not food safe. And I had this one lady was like, but now I want to lick it. That's that old like, well, you can't do this. Well, now I want to. So I'll probably just take this, clean it up a little bit more. So I'm still a couple of weeks out from having new pieces in the shop, just so y'all know. But with that said, there are a lot of great pieces. I've got Cyclops, I've got lots of wonderful magical storybook pieces that look like they came out of a woodland tea party, or, just something special and magical to add to your daily coffee or your favorite elixir. What do y'all drink? Coffee? Tea? What's your favorite? I drink coffee is my favorite in the mornings. Let's see, that's hilarious because that's how I felt. Suddenly I had to... Amy, don't lick the eye of the Cyclops. Oh, that's so funny. I don't know why. Let's see. Herbal tea. Love my makeup. Oh, thanks, Shayna. Coffee is your favorite. Lattes are life. Coffee. I drink black coffee. I feel a little spoiled. I have a local coffee roaster that gets these wonderful beans in from I don't know where. I should probably find out. But they are freshly ground and freshly roasted, and then they're delivered to me. It's amazing. Latte rules. And then I drink tea. We have lots of tea in our house. Lots of hot tea. I like chai's my favorite. And I usually go all out when I make a hot chai tea, and I usually, well, I don't have a milk steamer, but sometimes I will go through the effort of steaming some milk. And I will add steamed milk and sometimes whipped topping if I have it, and cinnamon. You are spoiled. I'm gonna have to buy a coffee grinder. Yeah, you need a coffee grinder, Shayna. And I am spoiled. I ran out of coffee the other day, and this is how amazing this little local coffee company is. I ran out of coffee. I ordered some and sent them a message, and they had coffee in my, like, on my doorstep that same day, even though my reoccurring shipment wasn't due for another couple of days. He had my extra bag of coffee there. Still got, let's see if I can get that out. I have to be careful using my fingernails as tools all the time. I've worn them down on the, it's fine on the clay, but I've worn them literally off basically with my wheel. Not recommended. Use tools, guys. If you're gonna do pottery, use tools. Take care of your hands. So I didn't really worry. So this has a little, this clay body has a little bit of what we call grog. And I don't know if you can see with the light. There's a little bit of a texture there from me trimming. And that's not really gonna bother me because I'm gonna be carving on this, and then I'll be cleaning it up. I might take my rib and do some polishing before I do some carving, but that's not really a big deal. But this will be a nice little Cyclops mug. So anyways, if y'all don't have any other questions, I'm gonna call it a day, but I've appreciated working and throwing some, well, I didn't throw, trimming some pots and just talking and sharing tales. I will be dropping the shop link if you want to go see what's in the shop. I'll edit the live video and have that there. It's also on my my regular page, my Facebook page, my Instagram page. So if you're looking for me, that's where I am. And otherwise, I will be back next Monday at 12:30 in time for another Once Upon a Wheel. So thank y'all so much. Lots of love. And I will talk to y'all later.